So our next speaker, Judy Frankel, is a political activist, blogger for the Huffington Post, and an author who is leading the movement to fix Washington. Her book, In Search of the Next POTUS, One Woman's Quest to Fix Washington, A True Story, gives voters the tools to combat corruption in Congress while choosing a qualified leader for the White House. It's our pleasure to have her here. It's my great pleasure to welcome to the stage Judy Frankel.
Hi. So I'm going to pass around a questionnaire. If you guys want to fill it out, take one and pass it along. And at the end, I'll collect these. So, oh, thank you. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me first. First, I want to thank all the organizers and the volunteers. This is an amazing thing. I stayed awake last night, lied awake, because I wondered, how am I going to fit all this into 15 minutes? This is a lot of material we're going to cover. How to secure a healthier food system. And the two topics that I'm going to cover are what two chemicals are in our food that we do not want to eat, the effects of those chemicals on our health, and what to do about it. First of all, I'm a master gardener. I'm the founder of rightindependent.org, a website for improving our elections process, and author of In Search of the Next POTUS, One Woman's Quest to Fix Washington, A True Story. My mission is to help people live healthy, abundant, and satisfying lives. So I live in Rancho Palos Verdes, and I have a 6,500 square foot garden where I grow about 185 different fruits, vegetables, and herbs. This is my backyard. My specialty is I prune peach trees, nectarine, I prune them all. Avocado, rare fruits, and I help homeowners grow their own food through a business I call Judy's Homegrown. It's at judyshomegrown.com. This is my property's typical July harvest. This is a peach tree in full bloom. I took this picture about 4 weeks ago. I don't see how Monsanto could improve on this. Oh, closer. Okay. I don't see how Monsanto could improve on this for abundance. And then these are some friends of mine who volunteered so that I could teach them something about growing food. That is an onion that I grew in my backyard, as big as your head. I'm also a cook and a baker, and I put everything right in my mouth. And this is my daughter. We're selling produce across our fence. So why did I get into this? I saw a scary thing happening in our food supply. This is a Kissinger quote. Who controls the food supply controls the people. Who controls energy can control whole continents. Who controls money can control the world. Well, I'm worried about the first thing because that's where I plug in. It's diabolical what's happening. If you think they're not trying to control our food supply, think again. We've already passed this law in California, 2470, called the California Seed Law, where it makes it impossible for me to share my seeds with a neighbor that's farther than 3 miles away unless I register the seed, have it tested, and get a license to sell seed. So, who wants to catch this? Okay, that is a bag of seeds. Now somebody could walk in and arrest me right now because where do you live, sir? Okay, you live at least 3 miles away from me. So I could literally be taken to jail right now because it is illegal to do what I just did. And the problem isn't just me sharing seeds these city lines, it's also our seed library of Los Angeles, which I'm a member of, can't share their seeds amongst their other gardeners. This is crazy. So they really are trying to clamp down. Now, this is one of the good guys. Dr. Huber of Purdue University is an internationally noted agronomist. I'm just going to read it out. Future historians may well look back and write about our time, not about how many pounds of pesticide we did or did not apply, but about how willing we were to sacrifice our children and jeopardize future generations with this massive experiment we call genetic engineering that is based on false promises and flawed science just to benefit the bottom line of a commercial enterprise. So there's really only two main traits that we genetically engineer into our food. One is we insert a bacteria called Bt into corn or cotton, and this keeps the little green worm from continuing to eat. But unfortunately, that gene now gets into our system. We don't really know how it affects our bodies. It's not been studied over long term. But I don't want to focus on the second genetic trait, which is this Roundup Ready trait. So they insert a gene with this gun. They say it's completely natural, but this has not been happening for thousands of years like they claim. This would not happen unless they shot it into the genome of a corn, soy, I mean, all the things they spray with Roundup. And then they have the patent for that, whatever that product is. So from now on, whenever you buy a seed that has Roundup Ready trait, you have to pay dearly for that trait. So what is this Roundup we're spraying on our food? Well, it's made of glyphosate, that's the main chemical ingredient, but it's also made up of 20 other adjuvants. And if they tweak the adjuvant just a little bit more, they can repatent it. So they sprayed between 2004 and 2014 527 million pounds of this stuff in the United States alone. And then when Roundup was not killing the weeds like it was supposed to, they went to the government, Monsanto went to the government and said, we want to be able to spray more. So they changed the law so that we can now spray 300 million pounds per year in the USA. Now, is it healthy? I think you probably already know I'm going to tell you it's not healthy. The main ingredient in Monsanto's patented Roundup weed killer is toxic. It permeates the food. It doesn't just lay on the top where you can wash it off. The surfactants and adjuvants make it go into the tissues, and then we eat it. So anything that's corn, soy, canola, the sugar beets are sprayed with this. It's in the food and we're eating it on a regular basis. So what is it doing to us? It has this antibacterial, it's actually registered as an antibiotic. So it kills all the beneficial gut bacteria that make aromatic amino acids. And those aromatic amino acids are necessary to make dopamine, serotonin, the feel-good chemicals, which is why there's an epidemic of depression in this country. But don't worry about that, because Pfizer will sell you drugs, antidepressants. And guess who Pfizer owns? Monsanto. So they're going to first make you very depressed, and then they're going to treat you with their antidepressants. The other thing that it does is it causes cancer through endocrine disruption. That came out this year. The World Health Organization labeled it a probable carcinogen, but we already know that we know through FDA documents that it had been known to cause cancer even before they approved it. There's a whole book about that called Altered Genes, Twisted Truth by Stephen Drucker. I highly recommend it. That explains how it was passed by the FDA even though it caused cancer. And then it causes nutrient and amino acid deficiencies because of this disruption in the gut bacteria. So there's 291 enzymes that it disrupts. So there's so many diseases now, celiac disease, any gut dyssymbiosis problem. I'm going to recommend the senior MIT senior research scientist a little bit later on. The woman who's been studying this, who is brilliant on this topic, is Stephanie Seneff, and I'll have a slide with her name so you could write it down if you want more information. But the other thing it does is it binds essential nutrients that we need to either live or to clear our body of some other toxic chemicals. Manganese especially clears some of the neurotoxins from our brain. And the other thing it does is it synergistically makes mercury and aluminum more toxic, which is why we're seeing these spikes in autism, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. It also kills the good bacteria and mycorrhiza, which is fungi in the soil, which would have prevented global warming. And the residues of glyphosate are found in just about anything you can imagine that is processed food. Plus, they spray it on wheat, barley, oats, flax, peas, lentils, and beans to dry it out before they harvest it, because they couldn't spray it on Roundup Ready isn't in everything, but they can spray it on non-GMO wheat, corn, all the things I just mentioned, wheat, barley, oats, flax, because it gets it all ready for the farmer to harvest quicker. And so a lot of the things that say non-GMO are still going to have glyphosate in them. And this is how they sell it, Monsanto. So you need government approval to grow and sell your food as organic, the way food has been grown for thousands of years. And then you can put the USDA label on it. The government requires you to label it. But you don't need any government approval to grow and sell your food produced with modern-day chemicals and GMOs. Now, what's wrong with that picture? So these are all the ingredients that GMOs are hidden in. And I have this list so you can, if you send me, I'm going to show you at the end how to ask me for this list. And then the other toxic chemical that's put in food by the food industry is glutamate. And it is a food additive that the food industry knows turns off that part of your brain that says, I'm full now, I don't need to eat anymore. And it makes you want to taste that thing again. So it's in just about everything, because what a great business model. If you can trick people into thinking they're not full and make them keep eating, well, this is one of the reasons we have such obesity in the United States. Now, for more information, Stephanie Seneff, I wanted to say about the glutamate. Glutamate is also one of those things that causes autism. Kids with autism have high amounts of glutamate in this particular part of their brain. Well, glyphosate and glutamate are the perfect storm. And this is why we're seeing these ridiculously high, 1 in 45 kids now are on the spectrum. I can't get this information out there fast enough. So if you know anyone who's affected by autism or Alzheimer's, please send this video around. And these are the experts in this. Stephanie Seneff, she's the one that knows about glyphosate. Amy Yasko's on the cutting edge of glutamate. And Vandana Shiva is my hero in the seed movement. And then I wanted to explain what to do about it. So Monsanto has this regulatory capture of our FDA, EPA, and USDA. And the president, by the way, appoints the heads of these organizations or these regulatory agencies. They can just basically go in and rewrite the law whenever they need to spray more Roundup. I want everybody to know about the Safe and Accurate Food Labeling Act. That's what they call it, but it's really the DARK Act, the Deny Americans the Right to Know Act. If you're interested at all in this, getting labels on food, go to GMOfreeusa.org. The woman who runs it is a personal friend of mine, but I know she is on top of things, and she writes some of the best emails. She'll keep you apprised of what's going on. And then what I want you to know is there's a revolving door between Monsanto and the federal government that we have to stop. And the only way we're going to stop that is by voting in a president who won't appoint. And that's why I'm wearing the Bernie button By the way, Hillary Clinton and Monsanto are in bed together. I could explain what she's doing really quickly. The Feed the Future initiative, that is a government-funded plus Dow and Monsanto-supported program, goes into these poorest countries in Africa, sells them gives them the GMO seeds just to get them hooked, because they have to sign contracts, that makes them dependent upon them continuing to buy the seed and chemicals from them. And then, after their indigenous seeds are no longer good, because after 3 years are like no longer good, they can sue the farmers if they don't keep up their payments. They can take the land away from them. So this is what they've done in the United States. They're just going to do it all over the world. It's a wonderful business model. So this brought me to this book, this book really explains how to fix Washington. And I mean, it goes from the top down. If you want to fix Washington, the ideas in this book, this is a story, but it's also really instructive, and it's about how to get money out of politics. There's a movement going on. The movement is described really well in this book, and it's a way to feel empowered. So I know I don't have any more time. I have some free giveaways. I'll be in the next room selling my book, but also giving away some free anti-GMO stickers. And then, what else do I say? Oh, when you gather up the papers, I'd like to see them. So just meet me in the back corner. All right, thank you very much.
Chris.